by Probitas. In a previous video, I explained the new AS13100 requirements, and now I want to show you how we have incorporated the requirements related to AS9100 to the Lead Auditor Course according to that standard. We also have incorporated the Reference Manual 13005 requirements for internal audits. Let me show you first the contents of the course. We have the agenda and introductions, the diagnostic test, the audit principles according to ISO 19011, the requirements of AS9100 and AS13100 requirements. Then we have the audit process, and finally the certification cycle. All of these topics will be covered in the Lead Auditor course that is going to be provided in November. These contents are also used for the Internal Auditor course that is going to be offered in December. Now, how that works. All these topics are covered by the Lead Auditor course. If you are taking Internal Auditor course, the only topic that is not included is topic number 6. Now, let me show you what are the contents of the AS9100 requirements. Here are the topics that we would be covering under topic number 4. We will talk about changes from revision C to revision D of AS9100, a small introduction. We will talk about a summary of all the AS9100 clauses, and then we are going to talk about AS13100 requirements. This section also includes how these requirements are related to other standards, not only AS9100 and AS9145. We have other standards related to AS13100, and that's what I explained during that section. After that, we start talking about all AS9100 clauses. Clauses 1 and 3. We are not including clause 2 because clause 2 is basically the reference to ISO 9000. Then we have clauses 4 to 10. In each clause, we are including the additional requirements of AS13100. Let me give you an example. On the screen, I'm showing you a summary of the AS9100 requirements for internal audits, clause 9.2. Let's check these requirements. You have to demonstrate management commitment, authorization, and control of the audit program, including identification and justification of changes. The requirement for the auditors is basically to select auditors to ensure independence of the audit process. That's basically the only requirement for AS9100. Report management, you have to circulate the report, have a closing meeting, performance measures, input to management review. Follow up to ensure effective and on-time implementation of corrections and corrective actions. You have to perform an audit on time according to the program. Evidence and report, including strengths, correct NCR classification, NCR's conformity improvement opportunity, timely corrections and corrective actions, and finally records to demonstrate that the audit program was implemented effectively. These are basically the requirements of AS9100. Now, in the next slide, let's check the additional requirements of AS13100. AS9100 clause 9.2 includes clauses 9.21 and 9.22. The additional requirements of AS13100 start with clause 9.23 for internal audits. Let's see what it says. The organization shall have a documented process that describes the internal audit process. The audit plan shall include all elements within the scope of the management system and include quality system, production process, product, and special process audits. AS9100 doesn't talk about production process and special process audits. AS13100 wants you to include all of these audits in your audit plan. Now, most companies are already doing those audits anyway, but in case you don't have it, then you have to include it. For default frequency for each type of internal audit, see Table 9, which I explain in the next slide during the course. Quality system audits shall include the review of compliance to the appropriate industry QMS standard, AS9100, 9001, or whatever other standard that you may have. The organization shall ensure that regulatory and customer-specific quality system requirements are included within the audit scope as applicable. As you can see, some of the new requirements you are already complying with, but in case you are not, you have to include them. Here's the table 9 that was mentioned in the previous slide. So we have the audit type, the scope, and the frequency. Quality system audits, the scope is the entire management system. It has to cover internal audit management, management reviews, contract review, and flow down of customer requirements, control of work transfers, control of suppliers, including requirements flow down, control of design and development changes, control of non-conforming product, management of fixed process. The entire system should be evaluated every 3 years, and these requirements in particular have to be audited annually. We don't have that requirement in AS9100. This requirement is basically the same requirement that we have for third-party audits. During the first 2 surveillance audits, we have to include all of these requirements on every surveillance audit, and every 3rd year we have to do the recertification audit where we have to include everything. So if you see, this requirement is basically the same as the third-party audits. Then we have the production process audits. The scope is every production process. The frequency within 3 years unless otherwise agreed with the customer. Product audits as agreed with the customer and annually. Special process audits, all processes classified as a special process shall be audited annually. So these are the additional requirements you have to consider for your internal audits. There are more additional requirements for internal audits. I'm just showing you 2 slides to give you an example of how we have incorporated those requirements into our course.